see a lot of people that want to give to a lot of foundations because they see them doing good work, or they want to contribute because they're like, oh, they're doing something good over there. But we've actually been to the trenches with Trombone Shorty Foundation. We've been in Cuba. We've been in the beautiful field of seeing what they do to children all around the world and in New Orleans, and how they truly impact and change their lives. I was a part of something like that, you know, years ago, and I know that when you give a child something,
Take a look, it is magic.
This is the first of kids coming down to us. The Trombone Shorty Academy, we're so proud of them, have come because of Tony and Gia Prima Foundation.
One of the highlights at the school came when Trombone Shorty gave some of the Cuban students new instruments. After that, Shorty was back on stage holding a class for some of the students at the school. At that moment, the bond between New Orleans and Havana was sealed in the language they all shared, music.
That's it.
This cultural exchange between New Orleans and Havana was more than just the students from two countries meeting and sharing music. This trip also included some well-known New Orleans musicians, the Soul Rebels, Tank and the Bangas, Big Chief Monk Boudreaux, Anders Osborne, and Trombone Shorty, all to bring New Orleans music to the Havana Jazz Festival. And having so many New Orleans musicians in Cuba at one time brought out press from around the world. We were the only New Orleans news team invited to come along on this journey called Getting Funky in Havana.
it's completely worth it. You know, everybody here in this room is worth whatever we went through. I mean, once you just get outside the airport and you smell the air and you see the people and you see the cars.
That night at the Teatro Nacional, a packed house got to hear from the Soul Rebels as they headlined their first show ever in Havana with the Trombone Shorty students and members of one of Cuba's hottest bands, all coming together for a true New Orleans Havana experience. The next day, there was a huge second line through the narrow streets of La Habana Vieja, Old Havana, which is kind of like our French Quarter.
This is beautiful. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world to experience this here in Cuba.
This is New Orleans second line meets Cuban conga.
Yeah, definitely the meetings of the cultures here, and we got the Cuban musicians here jamming out with us like we would do on any given Sunday in New Orleans under the bridge.
And you got your kids here doing
We got the kids here from the foundation playing the second line along with the Soul Rebels brass band helping us out. And it's just a beautiful thing that we can't, it's unbelievable.
It was more than just special, it was historic. Havana had never seen anything quite like this before.
Made me realize that sometimes you gotta live life with purpose, you know what I mean? Like you gotta find something you really love and give yourself to. You get what I'm saying? For me, if I could be real with y'all, for me, that's to win a Grammy. I want to be there. Why can't you see love in me? Tell me why can't you see? Cause I'm gonna win that Grammy.
Due to the social distance, due to the pandemic, due to missing your loved ones that's out of town. You know, I'm from New Orleans. We from New Orleans. We love hugging, touching people when we see them. Hey, girl. We even got all kinds of funny handshakes that we do with people, all kinds of stuff. So we missed it. So guess what we did? We got together and we decided we're gonna do a song. We're gonna make a song. Sherman. I think you should play it from the top.
All right.
For sure.
was filled with sodium. I was never actually full.
It was so
I was just bloated the whole time.
I'm bloated right now, 13 months. Having a giraffe. Giraffe it is, baby.
And it's just curled up.
Yep.
So let me start by saying welcome to the Future X Sounds Virtual Sessions 2020. This session is featuring amazing musicians and amazing artists. Tank and the Bangas, LeTrainiump.
There you go.
And HaSizzle.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
This version of Future X Sounds, I had the privilege of hosting the last version, which was about curation, and artists were given a platform to pick. Artists with a huge platform like Layla Hathaway and so on and so forth were given the ability to pick the other artists on the bill of the show, and it created this curation situation where a main artist was giving other artists place to shine, and it was a beautiful thing. I got to host the show. It was so much fun. So this year's series is about collaboration And during the time of COVID, we had a serious digital collaboration, and now we're digitally collaborating to put together this concert for y'all. So I want to start with, since everybody's here now, I want to start with, what was it like working together? First of all, go.
I was nervous the whole way.
I didn't
look up to all these people. But it was fun. It was fun. It was cool getting to know everybody. Just kind of getting to know everybody while my feelings are like being thrown in the air because I just had a baby and stuff. It was cool to see that not only I'm not the only artist out here trying to eat, and there were other people that are willing to support as well, you know? And I feel like I made friends out of this whole process, so I'm happy.
A happy man.
Myself, man, it was just amazing. Just the energy that was up in the room, everything just felt like we was a super group, like we've been together for years, like we was Destiny Childs or something. I don't know. I just felt like we've been together for years. It was just amazing, you know. Seriously, it really was.
It was so fun working with these guys. It was so fun. We had such a blast. We laughed and we pretty much just laughed the whole time in between like recording. And then we just made this great thing in so fast. I'm telling you, we met on a Sunday. I think it was like May 23rd. Song was finished 2 Sundays later. Song was finished 14 days later.
Okay.
You know, it was amazing. And for 4 people, I mean, me and Alfred knew each other. But then for 3 like new artist group units like working together, I mean, it was like really fun because it doesn't always, you know, I mean, not everybody's super fucking cool, and everybody in this thing is super fucking cool.
Go ahead and name names. Who's not cool? I'm just playing. This isn't a morning. So why don't I ask Tank and the Bangas how you guys arrived at these collaborations, how you guys arrived at these artists since you were in the selection position.
It's so funny to be a part of a thread and you mention somebody to be a part of it that's already a part of you. Like, you know, because we just throwing out names. I was like, but what about Saxkixave? You know, like he's right there. So that was a really funny mention. And
yeah, let it be known I didn't nominate myself.
Yeah, I nominated him. I nominated HaSizzle. And you nominated LeTrainiump. Because we know that these people have been pushing hard. You know, if you go on their social medias, if you hear the music, you know that they are just pushing so hard. And just like our manager told us, you know, when we were in our truly like first baby step, because we still feel like we're climbing, but our first years, she said, all you guys need is the platform. You just need the platform, and so that people can truly see you. And that's how I feel about these special people here. They just need it. Being in New Orleans, sometimes you feel like everything just kind of goes up in a circle. You know, like this is the platform, these are the clubs, this is the places you go, these are the people that's doing it. And you just need the outside hand sometimes.
That's really what it is all the time in the city.
Yeah, you just need that outside hand. And that's, I really hope that
is everybody from New Orleans?
New Orleans,
for the most part.
I'm from Alabama.
And Norman's from Baltimore, but they've all been a part of the circuit of the being on Frenchman at some point, or playing in another band, or the highest you could go is I don't know what, the Joy or House of Blues. You know, every city got its clubs that you could play when you feel like, oh, I've reached it, and then what else? Then you're back at the open mic.
Then it's time to go on tour.
We wanted that early for ourselves. You know, we decided pretty early on, taking the Bangas, we want to tour around the world. We want to see if this thing can really catch fire. We want to see if it's contagious, if it's not just in our heads. So we left pretty early to be on the road.
So my next thing is I want you guys to tell me about the first time you heard each other's music. So HaSizzle, I want you to tell me about the first time you heard a Tank and the Bangas song.
Oh my God. Well, first of all, let me start by saying the first time I just heard Tank herself.
Okay.
We've been together since middle school.
Yes, we've been on each other since middle school. So it's just like just watching her grow, and listening to her and always knowing that this is the girl that's known for shutting down the school with her poetry. Any poetry slam, she's going to win. It was no ifs, ands, and buts about it. So sitting around in my adulthood and getting a chance to catch a few of her shows and to hear some of her music with Tank and the Bangas, it was just so amazing to know that, man, I used to listen to Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, Angie song, like the Neo Soul, and then you sit there and you start to tell yourself, like, man, I know this girl. Man, this girl doing something that I like. So now it's like Tank and the Bangas, and then you got Albert, this guy that's playing saxophone. Then you got Josh, he's playing these amazing drums, and then you sit here and you saw Tank when she starts saying, "Hot air balloon."
That's it. So
that's like one of my. She know that's like one of my rhythms. Even when I perform like my bounce music, I'll perform live and I'll probably start saying something like that just to.
Please put another bounce song, please.
So
I would love that.
I could say from LeTrainiump, it was just like, oh my God, Michael Jackson, Bruno Mars mix, like. It was just so much, but his style is just like, is one of a kind. That's what I love about him as well. Alfred Banks, I told him, like we was on the phone yesterday, I said, man, you remind me of a guy that I once, music I once loved. And Alfred remind me of like the old school Kanye West. Everybody
the old Kanye.
Yeah, everybody
like the old Kanye.
I want the old Kanye.
So everyone have a unique style about themselves. So just listen to everyone's music, and I'm gonna say, due to this project, just really getting a chance to really sit down and, you know, listen to people's music and be like, okay, these are the people I'm working with. And you heard music by them before, but ain't nothing like listening to their music when you get ready to work with them, and you start to tell yourself like, man, this is gonna be something hot. This is gonna be dope. Like this style, that style, this style. That's too many different styles, and you put that together. Come on now.
All in one pot.
Come on now. That's gumbo.
Now, LeTrainiump, tell me, how old are you, man?
I'm 27.
Okay, and you have like a super pop sound to your voice. How do you feel about that sticking out like that in a sea of R&B?
You know, it's different for me because it's not that I shy away from R&B. It's just like not what I grew up listening to be honest. Like I was more like, I guess you could say R&B, but like Marvin Gaye, but then mostly Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 is like what I grew up on. So being a part of this project and having it having to be more R&B for me was not a challenge, but it was something that was needed for me. It was a growth that was necessary, you know, to embrace that side of things, like that part of a vocal. So just, you know, just the energy was there, you know.
Now tell me about the first time you heard a HaSizzle song.
I can't really tell you the exact first time because that was a while back. That was like way. But I remember when it clicked with me when I heard him on Drake's project, and I was like, oh my gosh, I heard this song, and now this song is a part of this song. Like, whoa. Just being in the room with them, when like that first day when we all linked up, I was nervous. I was like, man, I don't know how to talk. I see this dude as like a legend. This is crazy for me. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy. It was nuts. But I'm thankful, you know?
For everybody watching this broadcast, that record is called Child's Play. Am I right? Yeah. So HaSizzle is on that Drake record, Child's Play. Sampled him. Drake is sampling a lot of bounce right now.
Yes, he is.
I want to ask you guys how you feel about that. How you feel about that? How's your feelings? What do you think about it? Are you happy about the spread of the bounce sound?
Yeah. No, for real. Yes.
Jahi, you ever about anybody in New Orleans, how they feel about it? Honestly, well, we love that major artists could use it. Oh, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that big artists can use it and bring more attention to this spotlight. I just want people from New Orleans to make it off the music that they originated. You know, I want us to be in the mainstream, and maybe we bring y'all big ass on our little song and make it big. You know what I'm saying? Instead of the other way around. Because they put it on like a nice little outfit, just like a lot of people like to put on culture. Put it on, take it off when they're done with it, you know, and when we left to live with it and still trying to cultivate it and make it bigger than what it is. So we just want the people that's from home to eat off of it first, honestly.
Right.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah, that's what it is. We don't mind, you know, we just want us to eat first.
In this collaboration, we're bringing more than just people together. We're bringing some styles together. So if you could each take a second and just talk about how it felt artistically to put your style together, not just that it was so fun to laugh and joke in the studio, but more get inside of your process of like how it felt to actually rub up against those other influences and try to create.
Type of freaky shit.
I'm sorry. Alfred just got back on and he was like, and he was rubbing the shoe like this.
Like Simba.
All right, we did more than laugh, right? You know, we got some work done.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
A little bit of work done.
I gotta say though, Al is really good about like bringing out different people's styles, like and making it fit all together. Like he was really like the cornerstone in all of this.
Right.
Thank you.
Albert is an amazing, should I say, like a producer, a guy that can like exactly what you're saying, LeTrainiump. Like it was amazing for just like, okay, with me myself, I know how to sing, but I'm a shy singer. Okay, so being in a room with LeTrainiump that know how to sing, to me, amazing. And then on top of that, Albert know how to play his saxophone, is flute crazy, know everything. And I'm just sitting there like, man, you know, and I went to singing it a little bit. Albert was like, no, man, let that shit out. Come on, look, it's okay, come on, like you got this. No one's judging you. Like, I like that.
Well,
I like
that.
I like that too, outside.
I like that.
It's a freedom in the studio that, that almost anything goes and anything's cool and anything can work and you never know, and the possibility are endless, and we're gonna create magic today, and it's a positive space to work in. So I know what you're talking about.
Yes. Oh my God.
It did feel like magic.
The things that people were willing to do, that y'all were willing to do, like to like even just take risks, and that we had just met each other, and that first day we basically like were making that thing, because like that song, you know, LeTrainiump came in with that melody and those words. Because how did you come up with that stuff? You would sing it.
It was the day before, no, the day that me and my wife got home with the baby. I kind of had like a freak panic attack, because you know what I mean. Like I got home, I'm used to normal life. I go take a shower. I come out the shower, I hear this baby screaming. So I'm like losing my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a baby in here. Like I'm entrusted with a baby. I'm still a kid, you know what I mean? So I come back to the living room and like, I'm talking to my wife. I'm like, man, I'm freaking out. This is a life. Oh my gosh. Like I get it now. You know what I mean? I'm seeing myself in this kid. And it like almost came naturally to me, where as I'm the only time, like, cause I catch panic attacks every now and then, like I deal with anxiety. And when I do deal with anxiety, a lot of times the biggest help for me is I'll start singing to myself, like singing how I'm feeling and stuff. But I had this one little tag that just kept going off in my head as I looked at my daughter, and it was like, I don't want to be away from you. You know what I mean? Like if this how it feels to be connected to my firstborn child, I don't want to ever lose this. Like, this is amazing. And just that little, I don't want to be away from you, just kept going off and on and on and on in my head. And I'm telling you, when I brought it to everybody else, it's almost as if the song was going off in their head at the same time. It's like everything just clicked and made sense, and we just made it work.
Yeah, man. It was amazing.
And just in that time, it was so much that happened on the first day that we recorded. On top of, you know, congratulations again to LeTrainiump. He just had a child, and he just got home with the child. And my girlfriend, she had just lost her best friend. So it was just like, it was so much happened at that time that we all was just like, oh my God. Like, and even Albert, I love Albert for this. Albert was like, look, you know, guys, we can do it again another day. Everybody was like, no, we done it today. We here. Like everyone, I think everyone had that drive and that feeling of, okay, outside of music, you know, what we love doing, real life, we got other stuff that happen. But at the end of the day, this right here, we can focus on this. And I think that's what made it even more amazing, because we had time to all sit in a room and like we forgot about everything that was going on in our everyday lives, and we focused on it right there.
That's the realest thing ever. And honestly, like if I could chime in, just like working with
camera real quick, just turn your camera.
Oh, my phone. working with Albert is always, I tell the story a bunch about how the first time I got in the studio with him, we did a song and he was like, yo, yell this word. And I was like, why would I yell it? That's weird. He was like, no, dude, just yell it. And I was like, all right. And he was like, all right, and I yelled it like 5 times. And I was like, bro, what the? And then I did it, and then it came out perfect. And I was like, oh, and that was the day I trusted Albert with my music life. I was like, yo, this dude is nuts. So we got in the studio with everyone. It's always a new energy. I was telling them, like, I was telling Albert before he got in there, everyone got in there, that I don't normally jump in the studio with other artists. Like, my thing is like, send me the email, I knock it out, I email it back. So this was like one of the first times I got in the studio. And I admire LeTrainiump. I admire HaSizzle because these guys are amazing in their fields. And I'm telling you, I'm always honored to just be in the studio with Albert because Tank and the Bangers are just, I guess for lack of a better phrase, just fucking amazing. Those guys are just nuts. And so, you know, and to have the opportunity to work with them is just crazy. So to have the opportunity to work with them. When we got in the studio for this record, dog, I was nervous out of my mind, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know Sizzle. I've met and linked up with TrainiumP, but I've never like sat down with him one-on-one. And I know the chemistry that me and Albert have. So it's like kind of reestablishing that energy with two new souls. It was beautiful, man. That shit came out dope. Every version of the record was fire. And I just wanted to add my 2 cents to it, give it some bars, you know what I'm saying? Bring my hip hop flavor to it. And I hope I did the song justice. Like, I think, you know, it's going to come out great, man. I think people are going to really like this joint. I'm just so happy to be a part of it for sure. You know?
Well, I also was waiting for you to chime back in so we could introduce your group, Saxkixave, which
indeed
I didn't introduce before because you weren't here yet. But Saxkixave is you and Albert?
Yeah, it's me and Albert.
Okay, so you two guys. And
yeah, me and Albert Allen back.
Let's talk about that. How did that grow out of a Tank and the Bangers thing? Were you guys separately friends?
So it's like, I actually wanted to take this opportunity to break the group up. I'm not really a fan of it anymore. Just kind of want to go my separate ways.
So here we are, Future X Sounds, breaking news.
You heard it first.
The final recording of Saxkixave.
Nah, dude, like what
Future X Sounds.
What happened was, man, I was blessed with the opportunity to tour with Tank and the Bangers multiple times last year, 2019. I think we did like 20, 25 shows together, which was amazing.
Oh, wow.
And so during that time, I got to know pretty much everyone in the band, vibe out. But for whatever reason, me and Albert just linked real tough. He cracks wild jokes. He's really funny, very sarcastic. And so we just kind of vibed in that regard. And everyone always makes fun of me and my sneakers. As you saw when I got back on, I had a shoe in my face. Like, everyone makes fun of my sneakers, but he would always like crack a lot of jokes about it too. Whatever, long story short, our manager Tavill was like, yo, you should get in the studio with Albert. He produces. And I didn't know he made beats. I was like, oh, what? So, and again, like, I'm not the most social person on the planet. I have social anxiety. So when it comes to like working with people, I'm always nervous. Got in the studio with them. We worked on the first record. And we was in the studio for like 8 hours and we laughed for 6 hours. And that was the first time I had ever done that before. I'd never laughed with somebody instantly. I never clicked with somebody like that. And so I legit became addicted to working with Albert in that regard. I was like, yo, every time I go over there, we're going to have fun. It's going to be dope. It's going to be high energy. It's going to be fun. And we wound up making a project out of it. We had like 4 songs done. And I asked him, I was like, yo, you want to make a thing of this? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. SixKixAve was born, put the record out. It's been doing well. People really enjoy it. And it's a new side of me personally, because people know me as I rap, I do hip hop, but like I'm singing on it. I'm you know, more melody and stuff like that. And that's because of Albert. Albert helped drive that type of stuff out of me.
He produced you into that.
Yeah, man, he brought it out of me, dog. Like when it comes to hip hop, my stuff isn't one dimensional. I talk about a lot of things, but for the most part, I'm more like, I give you bars, I give you bar work, I give you metaphors, lyrical content. Oh. With this, I wanted to have, my baby.
Bars and dogs, you know what I'm saying?
When I bring hip hop, and Albert brought like, he brings it out of me. The production, some of the things I've always wanted to do, I never had the right production to do it. I did it on his stuff. I just wanted to show everybody that like I have a little bit of a voice and outside of hip hop, and I wanted to show people that I kind of have, I could go there in different aspects. So
okay, all right, Albert,
sure.
who's the hardest to cut in the booth? Who's the most difficult?
to record?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, everybody is. Well, actually, hold on. So I can only speak for HaSizzle and Alfred and Tank because LeTrainiump cut his own vocals and then sent them. So he sent me like finished vocals, and I was like, well, that was easy. Like, emailed him, and I was like, oh, all right, awesome. No, I mean, everybody is tremendously like nobody is hard to record because. So like with Alfred writes, he'll like write his verse. Literally, he heard this beat that we had going, and then he was like, oh yeah, like that's dope. And then he wrote to it in like 20 minutes. He was like, I'm gonna go write to this. And then he texted us back like 20 minutes later. He was like, all right, verse is done. HaSizzle does this thing. HaSizzle's like a drummer almost with his vocal rhythm.
Yes.
And his tongue roll thing. Yeah. And he'll do like 16th notes with the tongue roll thing, and then I'm looking at it in the software and it's like all lined up like on beat. Like it's actually tremendous. And LeTrainiump had this like, you know, he came in with this melody and that like these vocal inflections that were honestly very like Michael Jackson-ish. And I was like, what is this? Like this is like crazy. So everybody freaking nails it. And then recording Tank is the best thing in the world because Tank has all these textures in her voice that like, it's just like she calls it coffee, and I was like, yeah, that's coffee. I was like, that is
one of them is coffee.
One of and like and there's always this thing around her voice that's just like it's ineffable, but it is that thing. And when you hear it, like you just like know this thing.
Yo,
like,
Tank has one of the best voices on the fuck, man. That shit is scary. Just like
he went.
Yo, it's nuts.
No.
Yo, keep it G, dog. Tank has one of the best voices on the planet, bro. That shit is crazy.
I think it's got some, what's the word I'm looking for? Variety.
Yeah.
She has so many textures. So many textures.
And whoever say otherwise, you so dumb.
Yeah.
You know that old stuff.
You got him on deck.
Jay, I know you're looking for like a little tea, but they really had a good time making it.
I'm just trying to have some fun, you know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
I like to see how people answer questions, you know, maybe something will come out, but if it doesn't come out, that's even better, because if everybody had a fucking good time collaborating.
Yeah, it seemed like really uplifting, to be honest.
That's the goal.
Oh, he looking for some tea where Albert wanted to dress like me. And he was trying to. He had my same noodle shirt on. I came down. I'm like, "What you doing with my shirt on?" He was like, "What you doing with that shirt on?" It was crazy.
Whoa.
I heard LeTrainiump was crying because having a baby was just too hard, and it was hard to make the song.
TMZ, man. Somebody got to call TMZ, bro.
For real, man. I almost messed up Alfred.
And I hear that Alfred goes to the park and doesn't clean up behind that dog.
Yeah.
Oh, man, come on, bro.
Leaving them little turds everywhere.
I'm out.
What's going on here?
We can go there.
Hey, really though, it was a very encouraging session though. It felt like every time we got together, it was like uplifting each other. Like from moment one, like right when we walked in, it was like, yo, what's going on in our lives? Let's talk about it. Let's really flesh this stuff out. Like I apologize so many times. There was one moment that I'll never really forget where I apologized because this was like one of my first time working with this caliber of artists. And I apologized for like putting ideas out there. And I felt like everybody in the room kind of jumped on me and they were like, what you apologizing for?
Boy, you better throw them ideas out.
For real. And it was like, man, it felt like home for a second. You know what I mean? The whole session, everything was just uplifting.
So do you guys have any plans when performances start back to all get together and perform this record?
We better.
If we already said this record is so amazing, we already know it ourselves. We feel like this record is going to do pretty amazing. We feel like the world needs this record. So, you know, once that happens, you know, we might form a little super group. I'm
with it.
I'm sure Gasa will be dope with y'all headline. With that, you know, with those names on that, the ticket, that will be a show that I will come to for sure.
Yeah, that'd be lit.
So be on the lookout for us to all get together and probably do an EP. You never know, maybe. But just be looking out for it. Just be
turn up, man. Come on. Turn up, bro. Turn up. Let's do it. I'm with it. I'm with that. I just can't wait to perform in front of people again, man. It's gonna be so beautiful. Oh my God, man. Now this song, man, I don't know, dude. I think we've all agreed that we've listened to this song each about 40 times a piece. Even the rough without the mix was fire. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I listen to this song so many times. I truly believe when people hear it, they're gonna be like, yo, this song is infectious, and they're gonna, you know, once we get to do it live, they're gonna love it. This is just one of them joints, man. Like, for real, no BS. This is one of them joints, bro. Yeah. This is one of them next level records, man. Like, for real. Like, SixKixAve adding his flavor to it, though. That shit is so flames. And LeTrainiump adding pretty much the song, like the hook. I played it. I told a joke to a friend of mine the other day. I played it for one of my homies that's like in the hood. You know what I'm saying? And I played it for him, and he was like, "Said Ron, that song got like that. You know, it got like the love, you know." And I like the groove. He was like, "Yeah, you heard me? Got the groove. You heard me? Yeah, I got that." So if someone from that background could love it, and we could play it for other people and they'll love it, man, it's gonna make the world come together for sure.
All right. So, this is the kind of the last question for this part where we have everybody here, and then we're gonna have pare down to the part with just Tank and the Bangas. So I think it's important right now to give everybody who's a part of this conversation, not everybody, but everybody who's a part of this conversation right now, a chance to talk about how they feel, you know, as succinctly as possible or not, about what's going on right now in America.
Who wants to go first, man?
So much to unravel, right?
HaSizzle left.
Yeah, that's why I was like, who wanna?
It's so much to unravel. I mean, on some days you feeling completely numb. On some days you are emotion filled. Some days you want to throw your phone. Some days you can't take your eyes away from it. You know, but the cool part is that you literally are having all these conversations. And my sister even said, it doesn't feel like we're just fighting alone this time. You know, it feels like the world is actually finally seeing how messed up this is. You know, we need to really break down this systematic oppression so that we can go on as a people and worry about the things that really freaking matter, and not the color of people's skin making them feeling lesser than. You know,
yeah, for sure.
It's really time to come together on a whole nother level.
Yeah,
agreed.
That's amazing. I can tell you on my end, like, I've been talking about it a lot recently, but just there's some days where I'm just not feeling it. There's some days where I'm happy and I'm like, you know, we're gonna overcome, we're gonna do this, and then some days where I feel defeated. But at the end of the day, songs like this are just small pieces, but integral pieces that could really push, you know, in whatever way it can, push the world to a more positive energy, man. That's kind of what we need. I feel like the song is needed for that. You know, because every time I look up on my timeline, I'm seeing somebody saying something, and a lot of people on my timeline are very, you know, it's either or, and I'm having to unfriend people and stuff. So that type of energy can really drain you. And so getting in the stew with Albert and getting in the stew with SixKixAve and LeTrainiump, you know, it inspired me. You know what I mean? Inspired me to want to keep going and keep pushing. Because these times are hard for everybody between the coronavirus and then these racial tensions. It's like, is this shit gonna end? And it could really get you down. It could really push you down. But at the end of the day, being around creatives like y'all, Tank and the Bangas, being around LeTrainiump and SixKixAve, and this won't be the only time we ever collab or even just hang out and just vibe. It inspired me to want to be better as a person, as an artist, and it gives me the optimism to want to move forward for sure.
Yeah, I can attest to feeling that way too. As far as like, for me, I feel like as a young Black man, I feel slightly more comfortable speaking out about my experience now, seeing that so many people are like actually speaking up, you know what I mean? Because when this does happen, sometimes you have a lot of people that don't say anything. And I think that silence does more damage than anything. And it gets harder because you try to speak up because you know from experience that these things are factual. These things do happen. I have been fighting for these things, and I've been living towards these things to make a better place for my daughter, you know what I mean? Like, it can get tough sometimes because I feel like, as not even just a Black man, as a Black person, sometimes like our voice gets shut up. You know what I mean? A lot of different things happen to where, you know, we'll have a voice and opinion about something that's happening to us, and then we're asked to be quiet about it. You know what I mean? But in this case, particular, it seems like the whole world kind of erupted and had enough. And I find that very encouraging because I am in a lot of situations where it's a lot of interracial moments, you know what I mean, that I have to personally speak up, and I can feel comfortable speaking up, not feeling like something's gonna happen to me, because there's so many other people starting to speak up as well. Now, what I really hope in all of this is that it's not a trend. I hope that people will continue to speak up. I hope that people will continue to understand that it's not just our responsibility as Black people to speak up about this, but it's everybody's responsibility to say no to racism, no to even prejudices that even we may have, you know what I mean? But like that's where I'm at with it. I'm just hoping that this is not just another moment. You know, I had a cousin that was killed about 2 years ago named Dejon Guillory by a crooked cop. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, law enforcement is bad. Look, I know people personally, and I can't really speak on them. What I can speak on is what I can control personally with my life. And I know that my cousin was murdered. You know what I mean? And it sucked. It sucked knowing that this dude was murdered, who was loved by everybody, white, Black, whatever race you were in that town. It sucks knowing that he was murdered and then coming back. And it's like his voice, the whole cry out for his death was just gone within 2 weeks. And now looking at George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, all of these names back to back to back like this, we can't really afford for this to just go silent within 2 weeks. This can't be a social media trend. This has to be something that we're actively fighting, which I know that we're actively fighting, but it's good to see the rest of the world trying, and I hope that they will continue to actively fight as well. So that's where I'm really at with it.
That's hard, man. God damn, that's hard.
I'm with I'm strictly Black Lives Matter. I have to sit here and say it more than anything. And not even just that, but from Black gays to transgenders, bisexual, everyone matter. I recently seen something that bothered me with the protests and everything that was going on. A trans girl was beat up by the same protesters, the same people she was out there protesting with. And beat her up was a Black person. It was men and women. So I sit here and I say, even through the midst of everything that's going on, I just want everybody to know, brother, sister, I don't care, Black or white, no matter what it is. Like, racism, being hateful towards gays, that's the same thing as being racist. So my thing is, make sure that you fall in love with yourself where you can be able to love. Everybody like do matter. I get it. We know that. But right now, Black lives are in danger, and it seems like no one have heard our voice in forever. And I'm excited. Like he said, I don't want this to be a trend. I want this to be something that everybody stand by. Stick with it. Don't hold up. Don't let off their neck. Black lives.
Hey guys, this is Tank
and the Bangas,
and we are dealing with Future X sounds, and we are working on the track
Away From You, featuring Saxkixave,
LeTrainiump,
and HaSizzle.
It's absolutely amazing. It feels great. It's the perfect soundtrack to what's going on in your mind and in your heart. So listen in. You're going to really dance to this one.
Cause they don't want to be away from you.
Yeah. No 6 feet, but 6 feet though.
I just missed the party where we all move around and enjoy each other and hug each other and say, hey baby, I miss you. I just want to be around you. So you know we're gonna groove. We're gonna groove. Cause guess what? I don't want to be away from you. I don't want to be away from you. Oh, I don't want to be away from you. I don't want to be away from you. I just want to get through the night. I got too many different thoughts racing through my mind. Your mind, her mind. And through all the things I think I know.
It's only been an hour, but there's way too long. I can see the future when I look in your eyes. We control this enterprise. Some girls want, so they will try, and they get pushed to the side like fries. So never catch up. This is us. Being with you is a must. It's official. This is us. For haters, there's fisticuffs. I see you in the perfect view. Match that. I got a lot of work to do. That's facts. I'm knowing if it's certain. Boo, scratch that. I'm trying to leave the earth with you. What's up?
Just saw Tank in the Bangas stage. If you missed it, you can catch it on the Future X Sounds YouTube and Facebook page. Coming up next, last stage of the night, my brother, Chris Dave. He will be premiering a new track as well as having some exclusive performances by him and his collaborators. Thank you to all the artists, producers, collaborators, activists, artists, producers, collaborators, activists, artists, producers, collaborators, activists, and supporters, you guys, who made this possible. We hope you enjoy.